let's go make some videos. Hey, hey, let's go make some videos. And I missed it.
Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain and welcome to the Bizaardvark review. For the last couple of months, Disney Channel has been pushing this show, not through selling its main premise or even allowing us to understand the motivations of the characters, but by invading our TV space with annoying pop-ups and showing people trying to say Bizaardvark backwards. Yeah, it's not what I'd call a very intelligent marketing scheme, but all of that is over with now because this show has finally debuted its first episode right off the heels of Adventures in Babysitting. Now, I came into both this show and that movie expecting something subpar, and with the movie, that's pretty much what we got. But did the premiere of this show also underperform? Well, let's find out as we dive into Bizaardvark's first episode titled First. Wow, it must have taken years to come up with that title. So we start things off right in the middle of one of Bizaardvark's videos. In case it wasn't clear, Bizaardvark is the name of their Voogle channel, which will serve as an intentional parallel to YouTube. So we're introduced to our main duo of Chloe and Frankie, portrayed by Disney newcomer Olivia Rodrigo and Madison who some of you might recognize from a few episodes of Best Friends Whenever. They're a pair of comedic musicians who are on the cusp of hitting 10,000 subscribers, which is pretty impressive considering they made an entire song about blobfish. And yes, that opening number is just as strange and unusual as it sounds. So they both attend some fancy pants prep school where everyone is stuck up and nobody understands them, and the reason they really want to hit 10,000 subs is to get invited to the Voogle space, where they will hopefully meet like-minded content creators. So, eventually, that very thing ends up happening. Who could have seen that coming? And we meet the secondary characters, including a kid who wants to be an agent for some reason, and two other content creators who run a Dare channel and a beauty channel. But once they meet a guy who is literally a face on a moving television screen, and I can't believe I just said that, the duo begins to wonder if anyone, even the people at Voogle, will understand their videos. This eventually leads to them pondering over the idea of quitting, which we all know is a nonsense plot point since there will be at least 18 more episodes of the show, but the what is never more important than the why, and the reasoning behind why they're struggling is a very viable conundrum. The struggle of making the kind of video that they understand and believe in versus adjusting their style towards making a video that others will understand isn't just a tough decision, but a real one, and as a video maker myself, I know exactly what they're going through. But it's their fans, and seeing how they understand their unique vision for videos that helps them realize that there isn't anything wrong with being who they are and letting that show through their insane music. So, eventually, Chloe and Frankie decide to go with their original idea, and it's received rather well. Now, I'm not sure if it's the fact that this show about content creators kind of resonated with me a little bit, or if this video is genuinely funny, but I had a great time with the second video. The comeback song really had me laughing, especially the juice stand scene. So, the episode ends with Bernie, the tiny agent, finally being picked up by Bizaardvark, and everyone joins in on the wave, except for Bernie, because he was late. Again. And that's the Bizaardvark premiere, an episode that took me on a very weird and very out-of-the-box roller coaster of feelings. When I was watching the beginning, it was pretty cringe and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And then they moved to the Voogle studio and I thought, well, let's see. And then they started going back and forth between what they should express with their channel and questioning how valuable their voice is, and I have to say, that struck a powerful chord with me. Now, understandably, it might not have a similar effect on you if you don't create videos, but I can definitely relate to them. And, as I mentioned, I did find the comeback song genuinely funny. It felt like one of those rare so random skits that's actually tolerable. For the first third of this episode, I wasn't sure what the heck I was watching, and I didn't think it would be even worth making a video about. But by the end of the episode, I actually found myself excited for what episode 2 will bring. Wow, who could have predicted that? Certainly not me. Now, don't get me wrong, this show is not perfect, far from it. It's zany, it's crazy, it's downright bonkers, and while I think it does a fairly good job at creating characters that embrace that tonality and don't shy away from it, I fear that whatever novelty you may derive from it could wear thin very quickly. It's pretty easy to make the iCarly comparison here, but I feel like this show is trying to be something very much removed from that. It makes sense that a show that's premiering nearly 10 years after everyone's favorite fictional internet show is more focused on the modern business side of video creation, since a decade ago that wasn't as much of a priority. As far as the characters are concerned, this show is kind of a big deal because of the fact that for the first time in forever, Disney Channel has created a show where an Asian and Hispanic take center stage in a world that otherwise follows normal laws of logic. Well, most of the time. It's not a show about spies or living in the White House, plot points that are just absurd and are always handed to non-white Disney Channel families. It's a show about, well, YouTube, basically, or at least the Voogle equivalent in their universe. In any other show, the prototypical Caucasian supporting characters would have been given top billing, and this girl would probably be the lead, while the minorities played second fiddle. But this is different. A very, very good kind of different. That's not to say that the actors that they've chosen are superstars per se, but in fairness, it took me a while to like a lot of characters that are some of my favorites now. Plus, Chloe reminds me a little bit of Lily from Hannah Montana, and that's a huge plus. All in all, Bizaardvark is just as bizarre as it professes itself to be, but, at least in this episode, that wasn't a bad thing. A lot of the jokes actually land, especially the recurring bit with Bernie and his business cards, and I was pleasantly surprised by just how many times I found myself laughing throughout this premiere. Now, there's no shortage of cringe moments too, but you always get the feeling that this show and its characters are perfectly aware of how insane things can get, and accept that, which is preferable to trying to deny it, since even if the show ends up being unmemorable, it'll still be a show that's true to itself through and through, and that's at least worth something. This show does have some potential if it keeps on focusing the episode plots on things that video creators go through, and doesn't overly rely on weird humor and bad jokes all the time, because again, that gets real old real fast. The balancing act of wanting to make a video that you believe in versus a video that might end up being more widely accepted was legitimately a brilliant first step for the show to take, since that constant internal debate is at the heart of many a YouTube channel, mine included. And as I mentioned, it's Bizaardvark's following that helped them realize how meaningful their vision is to 10,000 people, thus settling that internal struggle. And guess what? You guys helped me realize the same thing each and every day. I've gone through a couple of stretches where I felt that my message wasn't really getting through, and I started to wonder if I should even still be doing this. And for some of my videos, I just don't look at the comments section anymore because I don't feel like getting yelled at 5 times a day by diehard Jesse fans. But what keeps me from ever quitting are all of you. You awesome people who don't just watch my videos and like my videos, but really embrace them despite my misgivings, and sometimes you even stop live streams or hold off making your own videos just to watch mine. You guys make me feel, you guys make me think, and remind me that there is value to what I do, and that means everything. No joke, you guys truly are the real MVPs, and it's nice to have a show that, if nothing else, understands that feeling. Bizaardvark as a show will likely be scrutinized, criticized, and spoken ill of until the day of its inevitable conclusion, and honestly, most of you that don't like it probably have very valid reasons. There are plenty of noteworthy flaws to be found, and they aren't exactly shy about letting you know what those are. I'm not calling this a great show. It's still way too early to say anything definitively, and I'm not going to pretend that this fairly positive review isn't at least somewhat personal in nature. I don't know how good this show will end up being, and I'm not sure how good this show can be, but what I do know is that when episode 2 comes out on July 10th, I'll be there. Will you? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and throw it on a like, subscribe for more, and share it all over Google. I mean social media. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. The coming days will finally bring the much-delayed DCOM review for Zapped, in addition to the top 10 best DCOM songs, and later on, Civilized War is upon us, followed by the Let It Shine DCOM review, and then, finally, the video you've all been waiting for, the top 10 best Disney Channel original movies of all time. So, plenty of exciting videos to come. I'd better get to work. Until then...
The cashier rolls her eyes and says, "Could you take any longer?" So I'm like,
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
"I'm sorry, I didn't order